Janardhan Reddy. In this video, I am going to tell you about the dispersion of light through a prism. Okay, so all these are the prisms. So what is a prism? How it will be formed? All these things will be explained clearly later. Okay, so first let me tell you what is the dispersion of light. See here, dispersion of light prism. So in this video I am going to tell you about dispersion of light through a prism. So what is dispersion of light? You see here, visible light is also known as white light. Remember this. So visible light, also known as white light, consists of collection of component colors. So in this there are several colors, and these colors are often observed as light passes through a triangular prism. That means if this ray of light is sent through a prism, we get different colors. That means the separation of visible light into its different colors is known as dispersion of light. Okay, so what is the dispersion of light? The separation of visible light into its different colors is known as dispersion. See here, each color is characteristic of a distinct wave frequency, and different frequencies of light waves will bend varying amounts upon passing through a prism. That means each color of light has a distinct frequency, distinct wavelength. Okay, so in this video I will tell you the reason why different frequencies of light bend or refract different amounts when passing through prism. Okay, so in order to understand why dispersion of light takes place when it passes through a prism, first we should know why light travels with different speeds in different media, in different materials. Assume that this is vacuum. Vacuum means there are no atoms or molecules in it. No material exists in vacuum. Okay. Now here is a light wave traveling. So there is no obstruction for this light wave, isn't it? That's why the speed of light is maximum in vacuum, that is equivalent to 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Okay, suppose assume that this is a transparent material in which I have taken two atoms. These two are the nuclei and these two are the electrons. We know that when an atom absorbs energy, the electron goes from lower energy state to higher energy state, and there the electron will not remain for longer time, then it comes back to its ground state. Again it comes back like this. That means when an atom absorbs energy, the electron vibrates like this, isn't it? Suppose the same light is incident on this atom, because through this transparent material light is passing. When this light impinges upon an atom, it is absorbed by that atom, results vibration of the electron, isn't it? If the frequency of the vibration of the electron does not match with the frequency of the incident light, isn't it? This vibrating electron re-emits the light with the same frequency. See here, this vibrating electron is re-emitting the same light, the same frequency of light, and that light will travel through interatomic gap, interatomic vacuum, and again this energy will be absorbed by the next atom. Again, that electron also vibrate, and because this electron absorbs and re-emits the same frequency of light. Here the thing is that the vibrating electrons are re-emitting the same frequency of light. Why? Because the frequency of the incident light does not match with the frequency of the vibrating electron. Then the atom will re-emit the same frequency of light, isn't it? So it continuously goes on throughout the material. Okay, that means before re-emission of the light, this atom will hold on to that absorbed energy for some time. Due to this reason, the light is slowed down when it is passed through a transparent material. That is the reason the speed of light in any transparent material is less than the speed of light in vacuum. And the speed of light again depends upon the frequency of the light also. That is color of the light, isn't it? So when higher frequencies of light impinges upon an atom, their frequency is almost close to the frequency of the vibrating electron in that atom, For that reason, that atom will hold longer time. That atom will hold that energy for longer time before it re-emits the same frequency. Isn't it? So when the frequency of the incident light is more, isn't it? The obstruction is more. That means the speed of light again decreases. For that reason, the refractive index, for example, the refractive index of this material is more, isn't it? That means materials with higher index of refraction values have a tendency to hold on to the absorbed light energy for greater lengths of time before re-emitting it to the interatomic gap. That means the more closely that the frequency of the light wave matches the frequency of the electrons of the atom of a material, the greater the optical density and the greater the index of refraction. So in this case, you know that the wavelength is more, that is the frequency is less for red light. When red light falls on this atom, obviously the energy of that light will be absorbed by this atom. However, this atom will hold that energy for lesser time before re-emission of the light. But when violet light impinges, that is, falls on this atom, isn't it? The frequency of the violet light, violet color, is very close to frequency of the vibrating atom. For that reason, that atom will hold that absorbed energy for longer time before re-emission of that light, isn't it? That's why the speed of in the same transparent material, the speed of, isn't it? The speed of violet color is less than speed of red color. For that reason, the refractive index of violet color is more than the refractive index for red red color light. Okay, that means whenever two different colors fall on a transparent material at the surface, isn't it? For example, a blue color light and a red color light fall on the surface of the material glass slab. The refractive index of blue color is more than the refractive index of red color light. For that reason, blue color light will bend more than the red color light at the boundary. Isn't it? So this is the reason why light disperses when it travels through a prism. Okay, because their angles of deviations are different, their refractive indices are also different, isn't it? So what is the result here? The absorption and re-emission process causes the higher frequency violet light to travel slower than the lower frequency red light. It is this difference in n value, that is the index of refraction value for the varying frequencies, that causes the dispersion of light by a triangular prism. So violet light being slowed down to a greater extent by the absorption and re-emission process refracts more than red light. So the refraction is more for violet light and less for red light, and refractive index is more for violet light and less for red light. You can see here. Okay, so we know that when light travels from one material into another, it gets refracted. See here, this is the red light and this is the violet light. You can observe the wavelength is more, the wavelength is less. Here, the distance between the two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs is called as the wavelength here. So here the wavelength is more, wavelength is less. Wavelength is less means frequency is more, isn't it? Wavelength is more means frequency is less. So this violet color light bends more, it gets more refraction, it gets refracted more, it gets refracted less. See here, this is a transparent material. Here is the red color light, which is incident on the separation of the two medium. This is one medium, this is another medium, say it is here and it is a glass. What we have to do? We have to draw the normal at the point of incidence here. This is the normal I have drawn. So when a ray of light travels from rarer medium into denser medium, it will bend towards the normal like this. Okay. Next, if the same along the same path, if violet color light comes and falls on the interface, see here, along the same path violet color is coming and falling on the separation of the two media here. Just now I told you the refractive index of this color light is more. That means it bends more because the speed of this violet color is less than the speed of red color light. That's why it bends more. That means in this material, these two lights got refracted with different angles due to the difference in the refractive index of them. Okay. Now let us see what is a prism, isn't it? So here this is a prism. It is a triangular prism. It has two triangular bases. This is one, this is another base, and three rectangular plane surfaces. One this side, two this side, three. So this is a triangular prism. Okay. So what is a prism? Let us define it. A prism is a transparent medium separated from the surrounding medium by at least two plane surfaces which are inclined at a certain angle in such a way that light incident on one of the plane surfaces and emerges from the other plane surfaces. So the same definition here I am writing. This is a prism. So what is a prism? Okay. Whatever the definition just now I have told, the same here I am writing. A prism is a transparent medium separated from the surrounding medium by at least two plane surfaces which are inclined at a certain angle in such a way that light incident on one of the plane surfaces and emerges from the other plane surfaces. Okay, this is one plane surface, and this side one plane surface, this side another plane surface, and these two plane surfaces are inclined here at certain angle. You see here, 1 2 here, isn't it? So now what type of prism it is? It is a triangular prism. So in a triangular prism contains two triangular bases and three rectangular plane lateral surfaces. Okay, so I will show how these plane surfaces, if three rectangular plane surfaces are joined or inclined at certain angle, then a triangular prism will be formed. Isn't it? Here I am showing you how a triangular prism is formed. Okay. Now, formation of triangular prism. Formation of triangular prism. Here I am taking three plane rectangular surfaces. Okay. So this one is the first rectangular plane surface, and here is another plane surface, and here is another plane surface. These three are the rectangular plane surfaces. Now I am going to join these three plane surfaces in such a way that any two plane surfaces meet at a certain angle. Then we get two triangle bases then. See here how I am making a triangular prism by using these three plane rectangular surfaces. Okay, this is the first plane surface I have kept like this. Then I will join here one plane surface and here another plane surface. See here how I am joining. That's all. Let us join one more that is a plane surface here, rectangular plane surface to here. That is, these three rectangular plane surfaces are joined or inclined at a certain angle. That means here, this is the take this plane surface, these two are inclined at certain angle here. Again, these two are inclined at certain angle here. At that time, what happened here? Two bases, triangle bases have come. Okay, so this is the first triangle base, and here at the bottom one more triangle base is there. Let us rotate it. Okay, see here, that's so this is called as the triangular prism. So in a triangular prism, how many rectangular plane surfaces are there? There are three rectangular plane surfaces and two triangular bases. Okay. Here again the same joining of the three rectangular plane surfaces I am showing here again. This is the first plane surface. This is the second rectangular plane surface. Here is the third one. So I am joining these two plane surfaces, one here, the other one here. See here, that's all. That's all. A prism has been formed. So there are three rectangular plane surfaces and two triangular bases. So this is a triangular base. What about this? This one is the rectangular surface, plane surface. Okay. So we can see here also. Okay, one, two, three. These three are the rectangular plane surfaces. These three have been joined, inclined at a certain angle. This one here. So this is a triangular base, and here is also one triangular base. So this is a prism. And one more thing I am showing, the same here. One, two, that side, back side, one more triangular surface and two triangular bases. Now let us know some terminology related to prism. See here, this is a triangular prism. Okay, and this one is called as the base, and this one, that is these rectangular plane surfaces are called faces. Okay, so these are the corners. How many corners we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners. So a triangular prism has 5 surfaces. Of these 5 surfaces, there are 3 rectangular plane surfaces and 2 triangular plane surfaces. So this is called as the vertex. Okay, see here, base. Remember, even though the triangular prism rests on its rectangular plane surface, we should not consider that as the base. The base is always triangular surface only. Still base is that only. Okay, base only this one. So a triangular prism has 5 surfaces. Its base is a triangle, Notice that even when the triangular prism sits on a rectangle here, the base is still a triangle only. So two of its surfaces are triangles, three of its surfaces are rectangles. It has six vertices and nine edges. One, two, three, four, five backside, six, seven, eight, nine edges. Okay, so this is all about the prism. So next here I am showing you what is dispersion. First here I will tell you the definition of dispersion. See here, the splitting of white light into different colors is called dispersion, and those different colors are which are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, from bottom to top. This mnemonic we have to use bottom to top, because violet color refracts more than the red color when white light passes through a prism. That is, the refractive index of violet color is more than the refractive index of red color. Similarly, the speed of violet color in any transparent material is less than the speed of red color light. For that reason, why their speeds are different, already I told earlier. Okay, so for that reason, dispersion takes place. The angle of deviation is different. When a white light passes through a prism, all the different colors have the different angles of deviation. That's why they refract with different angles. Hence, the colors will get separated. When a ray of white light passes through a prism, see here, V means violet color, isn't it? So, a white light is a composition of seven colors. When these seven colors passes through vacuum, in vacuum all colors will travel with the same speed, with unison. That's why the light appears as white. So here V stands for violet color. This one is the violet color. I is indigo color. B blue, green, yellow, orange, red. These are the different colors we get when dispersion takes place through a prism. Okay, so here first how light travels, let us study that. Light travels in the form of electromagnetic waves, isn't it? So in this, before going to dispersion, I will explain what is electromagnetic wave. So how light travels? Light travels in the form of electromagnetic waves. In this, electric field and magnetic field varies perpendicularly to the direction of propagation of wave. So next I am going to tell you, I am going to show you how electromagnetic wave propagates, isn't it? So the main property of an electromagnetic wave is that it doesn't require any medium. It travels even in vacuum also. Okay, so in electromagnetic wave, see here, I am telling the property of the electromagnetic wave because light travels in the form of electromagnetic waves. In electromagnetic wave, no particle physically oscillates back and forth. Instead, the magnitude of electric and magnetic fields associated with electromagnetic wave vary perpendicularly, that is periodically at every point, and these oscillating electric and magnetic fields propagate in all directions with the speed of light. So this is about the electromagnetic wave. So in an electromagnetic wave, there are two fields. One is electric field, other one is magnetic field. These two fields vibrate perpendicular to the direction of the propagation of wave. Okay. So here you can see. So to show the changing of electric and magnetic fields in electromagnetic wave, here I have taken some points, dashes, etc. to form the wave. And do not think that they are the particles vibrating, because no particles vibrate in electromagnetic wave. So here I am going to show you how electric and magnetic field vary perpendicularly to the direction of the propagation of the traveling of the electromagnetic wave. Here I have taken some points, dashes, etc. Actually, they are not the particles actually vibrate in an electromagnetic wave, because in an electromagnetic wave no particle physically vibrate. Okay. So see here on this horizontal line, I kept some points just to show how they vibrate. Actually, they won't vibrate. And along this, see here, say this is X, Y, Z axis, isn't it? So electric field and magnetic field vibrate perpendicularly. So in this figure also you can see here, this one is the electromagnetic wave. So this one is the electric field, and this blue color one is the magnetic field. And these two fields vibrate perpendicularly one another when this wave propagates in a traveling direction. That means this wave is moving like this. These two fields are oscillating perpendicularly one another. See here. So the red ones are the electric field and the blue ones are the magnetic field. Some cyan color is there. That means the wave is moving like this, and these two fields are vibrating perpendicularly one another. Magnetic field is vibrating along this direction, electric field is vibrating along this direction, and the wave is moving along this direction. Okay. So here I have shown clearly, here is the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. Along the x-axis, wave propagates. Along the y-axis, magnetic field vibrates. Along the z-axis, electric field vibrates. You can see here, electric field and magnetic field. Both are changing perpendicularly one another to the direction of the traveling of the wave, propagation of the wave. Okay. Actually, these are not the particles, actually they vibrate. Just to show electric field and magnetic field vary perpendicularly one another, I have taken some points. That's all. So the same you can see here, magnetic field and electric field. They are changing perpendicular to one another and the wave is moving along this direction. Okay. And here you can see very clearly in this one. So this one is the electric field and this one is the magnetic field. So electric field will change like this, field will change like this, and the wave will travel this direction. Okay, you can see here how both are changing. It's very nice. So this is the propagation of the electromagnetic wave. That is, light travels in this way. See how electric field and magnetic fields are varying perpendicularly one another, and the wave is moving like this. Wave is moving like this. Electric field is changing like this. Magnetic field is changing perpendicular to the direction of the electric field. So both are changing perpendicular to one another, and the propagation is perpendicular to both again. The wave is traveling like this. So this is all about the electromagnetic wave. So in an electromagnetic wave, no particle oscillates or vibrates physically. The only thing is that we have varying magnetic and electric fields. So this is all about the electromagnetic wave, and this electromagnetic wave will travel with the speed of light. So light travels in the form of electromagnetic waves. Okay. So now I am going to tell you the relationship between the wavelength, frequency and velocity of the waves. You see here, first I will tell you what is the wavelength. Okay, this is a wave, isn't it? See here, okay, this is a transverse waves. So the wave is moving like this, and all the particles are vibrating perpendicular to the direction of the propagation of wave here. So here I will tell you what is wavelength. Wavelength is denoted by the letter, the Greek letter lambda. These these are called as the crests, and these are called as the troughs, isn't it? So if you take a photograph of any instant, you will get like this. If you take the photograph of these waves at any instant of time, you will get like this. So what is wavelength? The distance between the two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs is called as the wavelength, isn't it? So from here to here it is called lambda, or from here to here it is called lambda, isn't it? And the wavelength of the distance is called one wave. From here to here it is called as one complete wave. Okay, so this is wavelength. Now I will tell you what is frequency. You see here, this is a wave. Then what is frequency? This wave is moving like this. Then the number of waves crossing at any point in 1 second is called as the frequency of the waves. Suppose uh, if I count here, how many waves are crossing this point in 1 second. That number is called as the frequency of the waves, isn't it? So if the distance if the distance is if the distance equivalent to wavelength is crossed at any point, then I will count it as 1. So the number of waves crossed at any point in 1 second is called as the frequency, and the frequency of the waves is represented by the letter nu. Okay, let nu be the number of waves crossing at any point in 1 second. This is called as the frequency of the wave, and v be the velocity of the wave. Okay, then the relation between v nu and lambda is given by v equal to nu lambda. In this, v is the velocity of the wave, nu is the frequency, and lambda is the wavelength. Okay, so here this is very important. In this case, here nu is constant. When a ray of light is traveling through a transparent medium, that light is absorbed by the particles of by the atoms of that medium, and the atoms will re-emit the light of same frequency. That means here nu is constant. When nu is constant, v is directly proportional to lambda. That is, when lambda is more, nu is more, v is more. When lambda is less, v is less. So wavelength of red light is more, hence its speed is more. Wavelength of violet light is less, hence its speed is also less. Okay, where v is velocity of the wave, nu is frequency of the wave, and lambda is the wavelength. Okay, so the color of light depends on the wavelength. Just now I told you in the relation v equal to nu lambda, nu is constant, then v is directly proportional to lambda, isn't it? So v is less for violet color. That's why lambda v, that is the wavelength of violet light, is smaller than the wavelength of the red light. Okay, you can see here. These are the different colors having the different wavelengths. So the wavelength of violet color is smaller than the wavelength of the red light. Okay, so wavelength of red color light, that is lambda r, is greater than lambda v. So in vacuum, all colors of light move with the same constant speed, c equal to 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second. Hence, all the colors travel together and light appears white in vacuum. Okay. So in the equation v equal to nu lambda, the frequency of the source, that is nu, is constant, and it is independent of material. So here nu is constant, and in vacuum v equal to c, that is speed of light. So in vacuum v is also constant. That means all the wavelengths, that is colors, from lambda r to lambda v have to travel together to keep the nu constant. But in a material, the speed depends on the color of the light. However, nu is constant. Observe very carefully. In this equation, V equal to nu lambda. Nu is constant. It is independent of the material, isn't it? So, in case of vacuum, V is also constant. That is, all colors will travel with the same speed. So, at that time, what will happen here? Lambda, from lambda R to lambda, we have to travel together to keep nu constant. That's why light appears white in vacuum. But in a material, the speed V is different and nu is constant. In vacuum and in material, frequency is always constant, and in material, V is not constant. V depends upon the material, isn't it? So, but in material, the speed depends on the color of light. However, nu is constant. So, in the given material, isn't it? When nu is constant means V is directly proportional to lambda as per the equation V equal to nu lambda. So, when V is more, lambda is more. When V is less, lambda is less. Otherwise, red color, the wavelength of red color is more. That's why the velocity of red color light is more in material than the velocity of violet color light. Isn't it? That means violet color light moves very slowly in a material than red color light. So we know that lambda r greater than lambda v. Hence, V r greater than Vv. That is, the speed of red light is more than the speed of violet light in a material. Okay, so Vr is greater than Vv. Okay, and we know the definition of the refractive index. You see here the relation between the refractive index and the speed of light is here refractive index of material or medium n equal to speed of light in vacuum divided by speed of light in material. We just now have seen the speed of red light is more. When the speed of red light is more, C is constant. When the speed of red light is more, that is Vr is more, Nr is less. And the speed of violet color light is less, that is Vv is less, then Nv is more. That is, finally, the refractive index of violet color light is more than the refractive index of the red color light. So, the speed of red light Vr is greater than speed of violet color Vv result. Hence, the refractive index of red light, that is Nr, is less than the refractive index of violet light, that is Nv. That is Nr is less than Nv. So red light bends less than violet light. Okay, in refraction. So when light travels through a medium, all colors will get separated due to the different refractive indices of each color will get separated, and this is called as the dispersion of light. Okay, see here, we have already seen it. So this is the red light, it bends less because its refractive index is less, and here is the normal, and this is the refracted ray. And if violet color light travels along the same path, it bends more because in this material the refractive index of violet color light is more. That means it bends more. See here. And the remaining colors will come in between. So due to the different refractive indices of each color, they will get separated when they travel in a medium, in any material other than vacuum. Okay. So here is a question, I am going to answer it. Why doesn't a square or rectangular prism cause the dispersion of a narrow beam of white light? Isn't it? Here, the a triangular prism causes the dispersion of white light, whereas a rectangular or a square prism does not cause the dispersion of white light. Why? See here, this is a rectangular glass prism. Okay, so here is a narrow beam of light, otherwise assume that it is only one ray of light, white light, and in this there are 7 colors unseparated. It has incident on one of the surface here, one of the surfaces here. Now what we have to do? We have to draw the normal. Let us draw the normal. This is the normal I have drawn at the point of incidence. Now in this there are 7 colors. I already told you the refractive index of violet color is more than the refractive index of red color light. Hence, violet light bends more towards the normal, and red color bends less towards the normal. When a ray of light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, it will bend towards the normal, but the bending is more by the violet color. So this is the red color light. This is the violet color light. It has bent more towards the normal. So internally in the glass prism, they got separated, and whatever the colors are there, the remaining colors will appear in between these 2 colors. Okay. Now, while exiting from the other end of the glass prism or glass slab, what will happen? What we have to do? We have to draw the normals. Let us draw the normals. This is the normal I have drawn here, and this is the another normal I have drawn here. In this case, light travels from denser medium into rarer medium. When a ray of light travels from denser medium into rarer medium, it bends away from the normal. And here, the bending is more again for violet color light, and bending is less for red color light. Okay, so this violet color light will bend more, and red color light will bend less. See here. Here the angle of deviation is less. Here the angle of deviation is more. See here. This is the normal. It is bending more towards, away from the normal. The violet color light is bending more away from the normal than red color light. Again, these two colors are met here. Actually, they met here itself, but in order to understand, just I have taken a little bit further. Okay, again, these two colors, again they combine. Not only two colors, all the colors will combine to form white light only. So that is the reason why a rectangular glass prism or a square glass prism does not cause the dispersion of light. Okay. So here I am showing you the dispersion of light through a glass prism. Okay. So this prism sits on its triangular base and light enters through one of the rectangular plane surfaces and emerges through one of the that is opposite rectangular plane surfaces. Okay, you see here, this is the white light, and in this there are 7 colors, and this white light gets separated here. The colors are separated because of the different refractive indices of each color, isn't it? So the refractive index of the violet color is more, that's why it has bent more, and the refractive index of the red color is less, that's why it has bent less. Again, upon exiting from the opposite end, the same happens. Still it bends more, it bends less. If you hold a screen here, isn't it, so all the colors, 7 colors will be fallen. Okay, these are the 7 colors. This is called as the dispersion of light. Only a triangular prism can separate all the colors in the white light. Okay, so this is Vibgr violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So the angle of deviation is more for which color? Violet color. So the angle, actually, if prism is not there, the white light would have gone like this, would have traveled like this. So if you measure the angle of deviation, the angle of deviation is more for violet color light than red color light. Okay. So you can see the same once again. Okay. Dispersion of white light upon passing through the triangular glass prism, the colors are separated. Okay, so this is all about the dispersion of light through a prism. Okay, thank you.